Hey y'all, it's your girl, the real deal Lanita Skills Reaction Channel. Like, share, subscribe. What's up, real deal? Hope everybody having a wonderful evening, noon, night, wherever it is in your country. Congratulations to those who graduating on anything new happening in your life. Let's get into our content. Today's content is about the Idaho Moscow house will be demolished on 1122 King Road. And y'all know this is the house that you're looking at now. This the house where 4 universities of Idaho students were staying. That house right there will be demolished. Yes. And what they're going to do with the property later, I don't know. But let me tell you this before we watch this video. I'm going to do my reaction now. The owner of the house at 1122 King Road in Moscow gave the house to the university. Yes, they did. That was nice. Which chose to have it demolished. The president, Scott Green, announced, the university president, Scott Green announced in a memo sent to the university employees, students on Friday. Yes. And I think that's a pretty good idea due to the fact that something happened there and people be coming there wearing them, taking pictures. It may be like a healing step for them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Removing the physical structures where the crime that shook all the communities and communities. Demolishing that house will also remove effort to further probably like sensitization crime. Just giving the kids, even the kids in the community, the school break, you know what I mean? Evaluating, where the students may be involved in the future development of a property. You don't want them to relive in the house where Ethan, Haley, Zayna, Medicine were stabbed to death in the early hours of November 13, 2022. Now, before we look at everything else, the suspect, Kohlberger, was arrested. Y'all already know that because we've been talking about Kohlberger for the longest. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn the music down. And real deal, I'm talking to the ones who subscribe to my channel and a real deal to the channel. Those the ones, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who subscribe to my channel. Okay? They're my real deals who've been with me from day one. So the ones who just not coming in, y'all get on in and get fit in, but keep it real. Okay? I'm going to show you this information, and this information is for news reporting purposes, okay? Commenting. Take a listen to this.
Where 4 students were murdered back in November of last year, that home will be demolished. In a memo sent to the University of Idaho students and employees this morning, the owner of the home on King Street offered to give the home to the university, which they did accept. They say the demolition removes efforts to further sensationalize the crime scene. They also say they are currently evaluating options on what to do with the property after the home is torn down. No word on when that demolition will happen. Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernoodle, and Ethan Chapin, all students at the University of
I'm gonna
Idaho.
sit this right here for a moment of silence, because I don't want to miss it. And the demolition, I said demolition. Now I'm gonna be hungry, y'all. Demolitions is they're gonna demolish the house. So I just want to sit this here for a minute, for a moment of silence. Because I would never forget them. I would never. Okay. I would never forget these kids. They young. And what would make a stranger just walk into somebody's house, and they need to make him tell why he did this. 21, 21, 20, 20. Y'all know they just got out of high school, doing the right thing, trying to graduate from school, go to classes. All right, y'all.
Were stabbed to death inside that home in the early morning hours of November 13th. 28-year-old Brian Koberger has been arrested and charged with their deaths. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for late June. The university says that planning is currently underway to create a healing garden and memorial somewhere on campus for the victims.
Okay. So we want to bring that in. And this is Koberger went to court today, y'all. This him. He went to court today. Bobby done did something on here, but yeah, he went to court today. And when he came in that courtroom, y'all, he was so silent. He was so silent.
Murders of 4 University of Idaho students will go to trial October 2nd. The father of the victim came.
Okay, so October the 2nd, they are going to trial. Oh, okay, that is good. All right.
Kaylee Gonsalves there says he is ready. He and other family members faced Kaylee's alleged killer in court on Monday for his arraignment. Brian Koberger did not enter his plea verbally. The judge did so on his behalf, not guilty. The state of Idaho does have the death penalty, so prosecutors now have 60 days to decide if they will seek it in this case. Meantime, Koberger will stay in the Latah County Jail without bond. I want to bring in criminal defense attorney Lexi Rigdon now to talk more about the case. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, it seemed like he don't care anything about women. I wonder what happened to him. Let's take a look at this.
Resigned to having to be in that courtroom with those players for the foreseeable future.
So trial date now set for October 2nd. What happens between now and then?
Well, there are 2 motions coming up. There are actually 3 motions coming up. There is a defense motion regarding discovery, and then there are 2 motions regarding the gag orders from both the press and the Gonsalves family, and they're seeking to clarify. They want to be, the Gonsalves family, obviously, they want to speak out. Steve Gonsalves has been an advocate for his daughter and the other victims from the very beginning, so they want some clarity on whether they can speak out, and they're arguing that the gag order is simply just too broad because they're not parties to the case. And obviously, the media wants more information about what's going on. So those are going to be heard on June 9th.
What are the pros and cons of keeping the gag order in place?
Well, the obvious pro is that you don't want pretrial publicity tainting this case so much that it's impossible to impanel an impartial jury in Latah County where this should take place. And that's really the concern, because no doubt the defense attorneys are going to try to seek to move this if this case actually does go to trial. And that will ultimately be an issue on appeal if he's convicted and it goes to trial. Whether they move it or not is going to be the fact that they had a hard time impaneling an impartial jury, in large part due to the pretrial publicity. So the gag order is trying to sort of tamp down on that. But the cons to it are that people are entitled to open proceedings. That's the presumption, is that the public is entitled to information too. They don't want trials and proceedings taking place in secret. That's a cornerstone of the legal rights in this country. So
That's right.
they're trying to balance it. It's delicate balance in a case like this.
And cameras in the courtroom will be one big question. We obviously would like it for a variety of reasons. If you were defending Brian Koberger, though, would you want cameras in the courtroom?
Yes.
Probably not. There were not cameras in the courtroom, obviously, for Lori Vallow. You could hear the audio, but you couldn't see it.
But still, we know her voice, though. You could put a picture up there. I would want, if I was on Brian Kohlberger's side, I would want the camera.
I wouldn't personally want cameras in the courtroom. I would think it would probably be a big distraction. And let's face it, the judges and the attorneys are human. They might not want their every move scrutinized, which happens when you have a public trial playing out. But I think the less publicity for their client, the better, because the publicity about him is not positive. He doesn't really have any public support.
Prosecutors have 60 days, Lexi, to seek the death penalty. What factors will they be considering in deciding capital punishment?
Obviously, the gruesomeness of the crime is going, and the it just is a horrible crime. 4 young people in the prime of their lives being brutally murdered in the middle of the night by what they think is a stalker. I mean, that's horrible. Also, the opinions of the victims' families are going to be taken into account, because even though the citizenry is, important and the prosecution is operating on behalf of them, the victims' families' opinions on what happens to Brian Kohlberger can't be overlooked, because if it's a death penalty case, obviously the stakes are higher. And I think that they're also going to look at the strength of their evidence in determining whether to move forward with that.
And based on the evidence we know publicly through the affidavit so far, do prosecutors have a strong case?
That affidavit laid out a very compelling case. Now, there's really no such thing necessarily as a slam dunk case, but I think that the most important aspect of the case was obviously the DNA on the knife sheath, which is something that can't necessarily be explained. His movements around the house based on the cell phone towers, that could possibly be explained. If there's DNA, which a lot of this we don't know yet, but if there's DNA in his car from the victims, or his DNA in the house other than on the knife sheath, if he knew them or had any association with them, that could probably.
Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at the timeline, y'all. We can read ourselves. Y'all can read along with me. It said the timeline from Kohlberger's cell phone records on November the 13th. At 2:42 a.m., Kohlberger's cell signal picked up near Pullman, Washington apartment. At 2:47 a.m., Kohlberger appears to leave apartment. His house signal is lost. 4:48 a.m., Kohlberger's cell signal picks up south of Moscow, Idaho. And at 4:50 and 5:26 a.m., Kohlberger's cell phone signal picks up traveling back to Pullman. Now I'm confused because it's supposed to have happened around 4 o'clock when it's supposed to happen, not 5. All right, y'all. We're going to have to look into this. See, we got the timeline. But so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a video on this tomorrow. Tomorrow, because I'm kind of tired now. So tomorrow is my last day, our last day of school. So I am going to get this information right here, and we're going to make a timeline, okay? I'm out, y'all.